Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to talk about Nancy Pelosi's whopping $315 million profit that she's generated over the last few years, and how she believes wholeheartedly that she is not insider trading. So stay tuned and let's make some money. But before I dive into the video, if you haven't already, be sure to sign up to Moomoo using the special Thomas James investing promotion. Not only do you get a free stock worth up to $350, and not only do you get a second free stock with a guaranteed value of at least $50, but you also get a third entirely free stock with another guaranteed value of $30 on top of that. So that's at least $80 in guaranteed free stocks just for signing up with Moomoo and depositing at least $100. You could always sell those free stocks and get 2 entirely free shares of AMC just for signing up and depositing. Linked in the description below, and the promotion does finish on the 20th of October, so there's not much time left. And now I want to dive straight in with the key information. So, Watters' World investigates Nancy Pelosi's financial dealings of up to $315 million in assets. Watters Questions explores how Pelosi became so wealthy on a government salary. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has served in Congress for nearly 34 years and presently resides in a top-tier position as one of the most powerful figures in the US government. Amid a recent flurry of complicated decisions she's had to face as leader of her caucus, Fox News host Jesse Watters launched a Watters World investigation into her financial dealings during her tenure in politics. Last week, the Speaker was unable to pass the bipartisan infrastructure bill as progressives in her own party signalled their disapproval. Watters condemned her policies, saying they're making it harder and harder for average Americans to accumulate wealth, shackling them with taxes and destroying the dollar with reckless spending. The current salary of a Speaker of the House sits in the low 6 figures. Yet, Pelosi is one of the richest members in Congress with a fortune of over $315 million. So hang on, let's just work that out. Let's assume that Nancy Pelosi is earning $500,000 a year, because that's still technically in the low 6 figures. And let's assume that she pays $0 in tax and has 0 outgoings and manages to save $500,000 each and every year as well. But that'd still take her a whopping 630 years to rack up $315 million in cash and assets. So how has she managed to fast track those 630 years and condense them down into a mere 34 years? So what is her secret? Asked Watters. And it appears to be her husband Paul. After they got married, Paul opened up a real estate and venture capital firm, and through his connections he pushed Nancy into the political world, helping her to get elected to Congress in 1987. The couple has timed the market perfectly over the years, he continued. While Nancy's been a Washington insider, real estates, stocks, whatever it is, the Pelosi's always know what the right investment is. The Pelosi's own several pieces of real estate, including a mansion in Napa Valley, valued up to $25 million, a DC waterfront condo worth over $2 million, and a red brick mansion in California's Pacific Heights. Her husband also owns commercial properties in San Francisco, combined worth of up to $50 million, Watters continued. In 2018, the Pelosi's wealth has skyrocketed, he said. That year, her financial disclosure report revealed a net worth of over $114 million. In 2019, Pelosi's assets totaled up to a whopping $271 million, and in 2020, those numbers went up even more to a high of $315 million. So in only 3 years, she almost managed to 3x her investment from $114 million to $315 million. So where did this all start? Well, back in 2007, Visa worried the new Democrat Congress would target their swipe fees, costing them billions. So they hired a team of lobbyists who descended on Pelosi, Watters added. Visa's CEO personally met with her. She got donations from them. One of his advisors left and became a Visa lobbyist himself. And suddenly, Paul Pelosi got a phone call from his broker. He was in luck. Watters continued. Paul was offered a pre-screened invite to get in early on Visa's $18 billion IPO. Did Nancy and her husband hesitate? No. They bought between $1 million and $5 million worth of Visa stock. But it gets better. While Pelosi was Speaker, bills that would have hurt Visa's stock price were blocked in the House. Visa's shares were going up 200% during the time, making the Pelosi's a fortune on paper. In January, the Pelosi's got $1 million worth of Tesla stock right before Joe Biden announced electric car incentives back in June. The Pelosi family cashed in big time just before Congress was set to pounce on big tech. Mr. Pelosi exercised options on Google's parent company, Alphabet, making an easy $5.3 million. As another instance, in March, Paul Pelosi exercised $2 million worth of Microsoft options, just 2 weeks before the tech giant got a $22 billion contract to equip the US Army with high-tech headsets, and therefore obviously cashed in massively in that bump in the Microsoft stock price. The Pelosi's have never been indicted for insider trading, but her marriage investments and access, combined with extremely fortunate timing, have created a lot of suspicions. All we're doing is following the money, and there sure is a lot of it. So actually, Nancy Pelosi was previously accused of insider trading, and her response was priceless.
I wanted to ask you why you and your husband, back in March of 2008, accepted and participated in a very large IPO deal from Visa. At a time there was major legislation affecting the credit card companies making its way through the House. And did you consider that to be a conflict of interest?
I don't know what your point is of your question. Is there some point that you want to make with that?
Well, I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it's all right for a speaker to accept a very preferential and favorable stock deal?
Well, we didn't.
You participated in the IPO.
Well, I have many
and at the time you were
investments,
Speaker of the House. You don't think it was a conflict of interest or had the appearance of a conflict of interest?
It only has the appearance if you decide that you're going to have elaborate on a false premise. But it's not true, and that's that.
I don't understand what part's not true.
Yes, sir. That I would act upon an investment.
So therefore, we can see that Nancy Pelosi believes that by buying into Visa pre-IPO and getting a great deal, and also blocking bills that would have negatively impacted Visa while her investment grows, is somehow not insider trading. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a lawyer, I don't specialise in insider trading, I don't know the ins and outs, but it does seem very, very sceptical that she's allowed to invest in all of these stocks and also control what bills get approved and not approved, and make a lot of money based on that information. And how she's also allowed to act on other information, such as before the pandemic was released to the public, she sold all of her stocks and therefore avoided the massive crash. I personally think this comment here would be a great way to avoid all of that insider trading for those members of Congress. It should be not for profit whatsoever. There should be 2-year term limits and 4 for president. $100K salary for everyone but the president, and $180K for said president, and no bonuses, and no performance-related pay. No private jets, no security details, no secret info for 98% of the government, full transparency of everything, no trades in the market for 1 year before going into office, and 2 years after, and obviously no trades during the time you're in office either. Also, no donations, and only personal funds for running for office, capped at $500K total. Full public release of all taxes, monies, and everything else. Repeal of the IRS, and Federal Reserve or Central Bank completely. At least this way, members in Congress wouldn't be able to act on that information they receive and commit insider trading offences. Now, something else I also want to touch on is the potential for NFT awards and how this could be sooner than we might have expected. In spring of 2020, Overstock issued a digital dividend which resulted in a short squeeze of their stock. Several short hedge funds filed a lawsuit against Overstock, claiming the dividend was illegal stock market manipulation. The case has been dismissed and reopened multiple times, with a final verdict issued yesterday, a dismissal of the lawsuit with prejudice. This means that there is no possibility for a further lawsuit, and for all intents and purposes, it is a closed case. It can now also act as a legal precedent if short hedge funds file a similar lawsuit against other companies like AMC or GameStop that issue digital dividends, NFTs, crypto rewards, or anything else. Such non-traditional dividends have no specific cash value and so cannot be covered by short sellers in order to maintain their short positions. Now, right now, AMC can't issue a crypto dividend because they have brought forward loss reserves and they're currently loss-making, but will obviously soon become profit-making. But there's nothing that prevents them from issuing a crypto reward or an NFT reward to all shareholders for each individual share that they own, similar to offering popcorn to shareholders just for being a shareholder. They could always distribute a crypto NFT to each individual shareholder. One NFT for every one share that you hold. Now, I think this could actually be coming sooner than you might have expected. Adam Aaron has now obviously introduced a way that you can already pay using cryptocurrency, as you can now use a BitPay wallet to pay via Dogecoin and other cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and that's accepted on their website, mobile app, and in theatres. And therefore, all AMC would have to do is create their own BitPay wallet, fill it with a certain cryptocurrency, or even create their own AMC cryptocurrency, and distribute it back out to us. Now, obviously, it would take some time to get the cryptocurrency wallet addresses for all of the shareholders that hold the 500 million shares, or the 2 billion shares, or maybe the 4 billion shares in issue. Or alternatively, it would take some time to set up a process where you can claim your crypto NFT or your crypto reward from. But it seems like Adam Aaron is heading in the right direction by his recent choice to accept cryptocurrency and creating an AMC BitPay wallet. And now something that I found really interesting is this comparison between the Dow Jones in 1929, the Dow Jones in 1987, and the S&P 500 today. Now, this tweet was originally made back on the 9th of September. Now, as you can see here, back in 1929 and 1987, the Dow Jones made a high around here, which is at the very end of August. As you can see here in 2021, the S&P 500 made a high at the back end of August or the very start of September, just like in 1929. And then obviously in 1929 and 1987, what followed was then a huge, massive crash in the Dow Jones. Now, in 1929, this wiped off nearly 50% from the Dow Jones, falling from 380 all the way down to below 200 points. In 1987, it wasn't quite as significant, but it wasn't far off. It crashed down from nearly 2,800 points to around 1,500, 1,600 points. And therefore, right now, the S&P 500 is around 4,600 points, so they could potentially crash down as far as 2,300, 2,500 points. Chris then made an update on this post on the 20th of September, where we saw the S&P 500 open down massively. And he says it's different this time because it's also worse. Again, another tweet 3 weeks later on the 30th of September, providing some more update, and we seem to be tracking this 1987 graph almost exactly. His final update so far was on the 7th of October, where we had a slight reversal, which we can also see in 1987 as well, a slight reversal here as a result of the new moon. I personally think it will be super interesting to see how the rest of October plays out and also how November plays out as well. Back in 1929, the crash started in mid-October and lasted until mid-November. 1987 started mid-October, but was also finished very soon after. Guys, be sure to let me know down in the comments below what you think about Nancy Pelosi's insider trading, and also let me know what you think about the current standings of the S&P 500. And also while you're down there, be sure to sign up with Moomoo using the special Thomas James Investing promotion, which does end on the 20th of October, linked in the description below. And as always guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of my others. Alternatively, subscribe to the channel and ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.